further ado, I will just begin, right? So today we are going to sneak peek into some PSLE hot topics. Okay, so for parents who first join us, or for the BT kids, right, that you may not know, all right, there are actually hot topics for PSLE. That means these topics are usually tested. And so you will always hear forces, energy. Yes, these are the commonly tested topics. And because exams are already so close, so sometimes the students will ask me, Teacher Joe, what should I focus on? So obviously, a good strategy is to focus on the hot topics for PSLE. And that's why today I'm eager to share with you some of these topics and strategies that you should use. Right, so this is me. Okay, so these are some of my recent photos. Okay, I'm a PSLE science specialist. I was a PSLE marker for several years, for actually over a decade. I was a chief examiner for 2 years, and I'm also a coach and educator, trainer, friend. Okay, so to me, I believe that education remains a life changer. It has certainly changed my life. All right, I always tell the children how education has changed my life. I didn't exactly come from a very well-to-do family. So for me, not only it provided me a very strong foundation in where I am today, all right, but it also, taught me moral values. It gave me a strong moral compass. It gave me the direction that I wanted in life, right? So to me, education remains a life changer. And I still see it happening in the students that I've taught. I've taught for so many years. I've taught thousands, I think a few thousand children already coming. So many of them, remains a life changer no matter what their backgrounds are. And these are my 3 kids. Okay, for some of you who are wondering, yes, I'm a mother of 3. So some parents will go like, wow, yes, I hit the national standard. Okay. All right, so exceeded in fact, yeah. So I'm a mother of 3, which I think a lot of parents are also a mother of 3. Okay, so you all would know that. Oh, thank you, yeah. So my know that my eldest is already in secondary school, and then I have a younger one, she's in P2. So I have a set 2 and a P2, right? So you can imagine how my parenting styles change at home. Okay, parents, I think you all can relate also. Okay, so let me go on to the next one. All right, so these are some of the important examination date. Congratulations, we just finished the PSLE oral. Hooray, right? The upcoming one is the LC. Okay, so the presidential election, yeah, is actually I don't know, I feel that it was a good thing for the kids because extra holidays, right? Then they can revise and get ready, more time for their own revision. So I thought that the president election was very good for our this year batch. Okay, so the LC is coming up on the 15th September. And then after that, of course, all the main papers, and the paper will end on 4th October if your child takes a higher mother tongue, right? So we are actually in short, about so-called 6 weeks away. But if you really count, with all the papers and all that, actually you left with about 3 weeks, okay? And then we have our BlueTree September holiday program, which happens from the 4th, all right, all the way to, so it's from here, Monday, all the way to Saturday, okay? It's a 6 days program, okay? But you don't need to come all 6 days. So if you choose to attend all the lesson, it should be about 3 days, right? So why 6 days is because we need to give you choices. So it's up to you which branch you want and the choice of dates and timing that you want. You can choose between online and also offline. Okay, so typically the holiday programs are very good for P6 children because of consistent practice, all right? And also during the holiday program, right, we will really focus on the answering technique, right? So those of you who are not signed up, okay, do consider this, right? So here. So these are the most tested PSLE topics from 2021 to 2022. You notice that there's quite a tip towards the physical science, right? Heat and temperature, energy forms and uses, forces, states of matter, electrical systems. You can find the entire article on our website, okay, parents, if you're interested to know. It is actually really important that parents now you are more strategic in helping your children. Okay, don't attempt to revise everything. You don't have enough time. I'll be very honest. And your children are also not good with all the themes and topics. So it's actually wise, right, to know what are the most tested topics, okay, for the past 2 years. It's like a trend. It's our 10-year series, all right? And then you can actually focus more energy into that. The link to the article, admin can help me to pull out and then share to the parents here. Okay, give me a while. I'll ask the admin to pull out for you. Okay, so we have done 2019 to 2022. So there's 4 years trend for, that's right, 5 years for the parents to analyze and help to see. Okay, all right, so let me go on. Right, so PSLE science, we all know 5 teams and then 32 topics, right? So this is a slide that I always show, right? So based on the 2021, 2022 hot topics, right? You see energy forms and users, you see heat and temperature. These are the physical science topics. You also see forces, right? You see metal and its 3 states, and you see electrical systems. Okay, so parents, what do you realize? What do you realize, parents? Energy, right, is awfully important, children. Energy team is awfully important. There's only 4 topics under energy team, but there are actually 3 of them, right, in under the energy team. So, oops, sorry, is it my camera? Give me a second. Everything okay? Yeah, okay, can. Okay, so this one is something for you to take note, all right? Okay, now, I also want to point out interactions within the environment. Okay, now interactions within the environment is the largest topic, whereby you have the environmental factors, food chain, food web, adaptation, habitats, man's impact. Okay, and there's a lot of fear in the PSLE kids for this topic because it's a very, very big topic. And a lot of them, they don't feel confident in it. Okay, not only is a very big topic, it's also the last topic to be taught in school. So typically the children, they feel very unsure, right, of the concepts, and they feel that they don't have enough practice of the questions, right? And also due to the COVID for the past 2 years, right? Okay, I'm not talking about last year, I'm talking about 2020, 2020, and 2021. This topic was not tested at all, right? And so last year, right, there was some prediction that this topic will be tested, like with a lot of questions. But surprisingly, last year, it was also not tested a lot. There was only just 1 or 2 questions, okay? Very few, right? So this year, to be honest, we are also unsure how many questions this topic will have, right? But what I want to say is, PSLE kids, right? Please don't be too obsessed with this topic, okay? Yes, it's a very big topic, and yes, there are a lot of concepts that you're not sure. I understand. Teacher Joe definitely understand. But don't be so obsessed and spend so much time on it and try to get better at it, because the past 3 years, right, it has not been tested a lot. So there is a chance that this topic is going to be like the same trend. That means not many questions. In fact, I want to put your attention onto the ones that has been always tested, which is photosynthesis and respiration, energy in food. This topic is actually very important. It has been tested again and again and again, very mostly tested for many years. And this topic is also a P6 topic, which many of you are not so good. I would rather you put more time in energy in food, okay? And diversity in animals, okay, which is a bit linked to interaction within the environment, the adaptation question, the adaptation subtopic, because living things and non-living things, you see. So that one you should focus, okay? You should really know the unique characteristics of each group. And you should really focus on this plant reproduction, okay? Plant reproduction. Plant reproduction has always been a topic that tricky. The questions are very tricky, okay? So parents, take note, all right? Take note of all this that I said for your kids, because children are more simple, all right? Okay, and they don't think the way that the adults do, right? Because they are still young. So these are strategic positioning in a way, all right? Very business-like talk, right? But it is strategic positioning. So I'm trying to help your children to focus their time, all right? Because I know how precious their time is and how little left on the topics, right, that are very, very tested in PSLE. So take note for them. Children, if our parents are not listening, you just take note, write down on a piece of paper, right? And then tell yourself that you must revise these topics very well. Okay, the one that Teacher Joe has highlighted and focused, you must revise these topics very well. Cool? All good? Yes? I go on? Okay, next one, right? Here, So the exam format that we are all very familiar, 28 MCQ, 12 OEQ, you all are very familiar with this. And 56 mark section A, 44 mark section B. Now, but, all right, we're going to talk about time management, right? Time management. Time management, right, is crucial to acing and doing well your PSLE. So anyone want to tell me how much time you should spend on the section A? Any children? How much time should you spend on section A? 1 hour, 45 minutes. Ah, you see, you got different answer already. There are some say 40, some say 45, some say 38. Why got 142, one so cute? So exact 30 minutes. Okay. So children, 28 MCQ, you should spend 35 minutes, okay, on MCQ. So approximately 1.2 minutes, right, per question. You see, Teacher Joe is so specific because I've taught for so many years and I've actually invigilated examination for many, many years. You need about 1.2 minutes. Some question, right, you will be faster. Within 10 seconds, you know the answer, okay? But no matter what, right, do not rush. Do not rush. You have to remember, right, each MCQ is 2 marks. Children, 2 marks, right? Each MCQ is 2 marks. I always say you must give it its worth. You must give it its worth, okay? Because if the question, right, you don't spend enough time, all right, on analyzing the question, there is a chance you may make a careless mistake. 2 marks is a lot. If you're aiming for AL 1, 2, and 3, and 4, right, it's 5 marks. That 5 marks, the gap is very narrow. You cannot afford careless mistake. Okay, so you got to be very careful. Then after that, you need to have this 5 minutes for check. Check immediately, children, after you finish your question. Don't check after you finish the whole thing. Check when the memory of the question is still fresh on your mind. This is a tactic that works again and again. I see it in very high performing children, all right? Because if you check after you finish the whole thing, when you go back, you're going to go like, oh, I got to reread the whole thing. You forgot already, okay? So you have to check immediately after each question. And after that, the 5 minutes check, right, it includes this thing called the technical check. That means, did you shade? Did you shade in the correct over the correct question, right? So a good habit, right, is to write down the answer. Okay, so for example, if the answer is 2, write down 2, and then after that, you shade immediately 2. All right, use your fingers to point. All right, use your fingers to point. So unlike oral, right, for written papers, it's good to use your little finger, index finger to point, so that you make sure that your answer lands in the correct oval that you want to shade. I cannot tell you, I cannot emphasize this enough. You may be very surprised how many children each year when I mark, I hear things like, "Ayya, the child shaded the wrong oval. Oh, what a pity. The child skipped a question. That means the child supposed to shade for question 15, the child went to shade for question 16. And then the rest of the question just follows through, okay? So you really cannot afford to have this kind of careless mistake. The shading is actually incredibly important, right? So I want you to remember that your section A is very, very, very crucial. If you want a good AL, your section A must be 56 upon 56. So before you go like, whoa, how can it be? It is entirely possible, okay? It's entirely possible. You don't compare the standards to your school prelim papers or your school papers. The PSLE MCQ, right, it is a mixture of easy, mid, and hard questions. And you'll be surprised the number of easy questions is quite a lot. So the only thing, right, that will bar you from scoring is your own careless mistakes, okay? So remember to check immediately, all right? This is a sure work way, all right? Okay. I also have put this inside my TikTok video. So if you need a lot of reminders, right, you can go to Teacher Joe TikTok, all right, to look at the video. Parents watching such videos, right, will help to instill the reminders in your children's brain. So sometimes, right, okay, they actually know all the content already. The only thing that they need, right, is just reminders, right? So showing them this kind of videos, right, actually will help to remind them very often. Right, I go to section B. Okay, so for section B, okay, so got question. This year got more tricky question. No, I don't think it's true. Every year there are. I don't think it's more or less, okay? Don't listen to this kind of gossip. It's not helping. Yeah. videos on my TikTok. Okay, so if you are on TikTok and your children watch TikTok, can go to Instagram or my TikTok to look at some of the videos that I've done. Okay, I've done a lot of this kind of like exam video tips. Okay, all right, next one, section B. All right, the 12 open-ended questions. All right, there are 12 of them. So you take about 45 minutes, right, children? And you have 10 minutes of checking. Okay, so 45 minutes on the question, and it's 10 minutes of checking, right? So this is how you should do your time management. Okay, now let's say now you realize that you do not have enough time, right? If you do not have enough time, then what do you do, right? Jermaine can help me to type in just Teacher Joe. My TikTok is Teacher Joe or BlueTree Education. Okay, BlueTree Education or Teacher Joe. Got very good question. A child asked, can you do booklet B first? The answer is yes. But if you're a PSLE kid, no, not now, because if you don't have that habit, you cannot start a new habit now. It's too late. If you're P5 child and you want to do section B first before you go to MCQ, yes, you can. Okay, but that's provided you have make it into a habit of work already and it works. Okay. Now the reason why booklet A is given first, then you do booklet B, right? Parents and children, is because it's a build up. It's a build up. Okay. And sometimes when you go into the PSLE room, you feel very nervous, right? You are unable to calm down. So section B, right, because the questions tends to be harder and more information, so it doesn't help with your nerve. But with section A, right, they tend to settle you better as an exam candidate, all right? The whole routine of the questions, all right, and looking through the option, it settles actually children much better. So yes, you can, but you have to, like I say, build into a work habit and it works. So these are the two criteria. If not, in general, MCQ and OEQ is actually a very good routine. Okay, all right, I go on to the next one here. Now, so these are the assessment objectives. Now I want you to take a look at the process skills. Okay, a lot of parents and children actually don't understand, right, what it may impact. Okay, so just to point out, you see the inferring and analyzing, right? Okay, it can actually impact on, let's say, the experiment question, your aim of the experiment, your conclusion, relationship, control, setup, variables, right? All these will come in here. And actually, communicating is about keywords. So there was recently a newspaper article to ask about, is science all about keywords? And SCAB says no, all right? Your child can actually use their own words to write the science answer. Yes, it is possible, but most of the time, right, students are unable to find the appropriate science words, right, to communicate their answer. And that's why, right, in the end, the teachers teach them this thing called the science keywords. So the children, science keywords are not meant to torture you, okay? It's not meant to make science difficult. On the contrary, right, when we first come out with these keywords, right, it's meant to help you, because we know that a lot of times you all communicate with the wrong words, wrong choice of words. So when we give you this science vocabulary, it's meant to help you to communicate your answers better. Okay, but now it becomes like something like a challenge. Okay, so some keywords are very important. Okay, children, very, very important now, because as you can see, it's part of the assessment objectives. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go to the out science. Are you ready? Lots of notes coming up. Which definition should you memorize? Somebody asked, what definition should you memorize? You should really definitely memorize the old definition questions that has been tested, actually, the old one. So like, what is temperature? What is boiling? What is photosynthesis? What is deforestation? What is digestion? These 5 are the ones that have been tested. Okay, so you have to definitely memorize them. The rest, honestly, I will definitely memorize the 4 plant reproduction processes, because plant reproduction is a very common topic. I'll definitely memorize the 4 states of matter processes, which is melting, boiling, how many of freezing? I got teacher Joe. Evaporation. All right. Condensation is quite unlikely. right? Condensation is very unlikely, okay? So this 4 I will definitely memorize, right? So I hope I kind of like answer your question. Okay, here, or what to memorize, you mean the definition question? I repeat again, sure, I'll repeat again. You definitely need to memorize the 5 definition questions that were tested before, all right, which was what is boiling, what is temperature, what is temperature was tested 3 times. Children, what is temperature was tested 3 times. Okay, so you know it's a very hot question, all right? What is photosynthesis, right? What is deforestation, tested last year? And what is digestion, also tested last year? There is a trend that they like to test the same definition for 2 years. Do you hear me, parents and children? They like to test the same definition question for 2 years. So last year they test what is deforestation and what is digestion. All right, it was actually tested last year once. Okay, so I think that it may happen again, right? In fact, what is deforestation was tested a long time before, in 2005 or 2000. That means very, very long time ago, 20 years ago. All right. So this one, I think deforestation is quite common. All right. I will also memorize the 4 processes of plant reproduction: pollination, germination, seed dispersal, and fertilization. All right, because it's a very common topic. I will also memorize the 4 common processes of states of matter: boiling, freezing, melting, and evaporation. For condensation, right, it is quite unlikely because factors affecting condensation, parents, is not in PSLE syllabus. Yeah, evaporation actually holds a higher weightage. Okay, so this 4 I will definitely memorize. So altogether, you have 4 plus 4 plus 5, 13. Okay. Actually, there's a trick to it, one. There's a trick. Okay, so BT students, you know, Teacher Joe will always show you the trick, right? You can change out. Oh, one last one, decomposition. Yeah, also must memorize decomposition. What is decomposition? It's all good. Okay, I go on. Yeah, join us for the September holiday program. The teachers will drill this because it's so commonly tested. Yeah, okay, I go on here. Right, next one. Right, so this is a common 2020 question. Right, bees are commonly found near flowering plants. So this question, surprisingly, a lot of children actually got it wrong. Okay, and so part A, they ask you how bees help plants to reproduce. Students, very common question, right? How bees help plants to reproduce, but awfully a lot of students are unable to analyze such questions. So I'm going to help you to remind you. So first thing, never rush into answering the question, okay? Analyze the question first. Analyze. So look at the keywords, okay? Look at the keywords. Okay, so these are all the wrong answers, right? So keywords matter a lot in science, right? All these are the wrong answer. So this is the final answer. But how do I know that this is the final answer? Actually, it came from the question, all right? Now, you see when I see the word bees, right? And I see the word reproduce, right, children? And I see flowering plants. I know that this topic is definitely under plant reproduction. We all know this, right? But when you are analyzing this question, it didn't occur to you that, which are the processes that requires animals to help? Actually, just these 2 processes, which is pollination and seed dispersal, correct? Pollination and seed dispersal. Just these 2 requires animals. So since bees eat pollen, right, and pollen comes from flowers, so that means confirm, right, it is about pollination. So before you even go into the answers, right, children, this kind of analysis process must come into you. It must occur to you that reproduce is about plant reproduction. The 2 processes that requires animals, and then you narrow. So you see, you from the topic, you narrow, and finally, it's about pollination. So actually describe. So describe how bees help in pollination in short. Then that's why in the end, your answers, you can write, bees help to transfer pollen grains. Transfer pollen grains from the anthers of one flower to the stigma of another flower. You realize is the definition of pollination. It's a definition of pollination. So actually this question, right, is the real question is what is pollination? But they mask it. They mask this under the word bees. And then that's why it makes you very confused. Huh? What is it? How does it help? Right. If you say that the pollen grain will stick onto the animals and then it's fine, it's okay. You can say that also. You can. It's just that my answer is can you see that my answer is very straightforward and very how should I say, easy to write. It's like a definition. And how did I know that this is the answer? Because this is the definition of pollination, and I know that pollination, the keywords are these. So again, children, if your keywords are your science vocabulary is strong, such question will not be a problem for you. By the way, describe question in PSLE is considered an easy question. This question is actually considered easy, children, level 1 only. Okay, level 1. Do you need to talk about fertilization? No, because they talk about bees. Like I say, Manisha, I already narrowed down. They talk about bees. So bees are only at their animals, right? And they are only helpful in either pollination or seed dispersal, right? But because bees feed on flowers, that's why I narrowed down to pollination. If you mention about fertilization and you're afraid, if you are a student who like to write long answers and you write about fertilization, don't fret, don't worry. Your answer is not wrong, okay? It's still correct. The markers will still mark you correct, but you will not get marks. They will just ignore the fertilization part, all right? And then they will still award you marks if you get the pollination part correct. Cool? Right. Hey, give me a second. I realize I've been talking without closing my door. Yeah, okay, welcome. All right, Teacher Joe, go on to the next one. Okay, another common question. 2018, the phone question. Have you all seen this question before? It's very common. And this is also happens in our daily life, right? Okay, so this question, right, is actually it's actually forces, right? It's easier to use forces to answer this rather than energy. But of course, there are children who use energy to answer this question. It's not wrong, all right? But like I say, it's harder to use energy. Okay, so when the question did not specify, is it forces or energy, right? You can use either or, but you cannot mix up the words. You cannot mix up force word with energy word, okay? Because they're basically two different concepts. So when you mix up, right, some markers will immediately give you a 0. Okay, so you have to be aware, children, okay? So this kind of question drop off immediately. It is best to use forces, okay? So the keyword here is the word drop off. So it's about frictional force, all right? So this is a real life application. So again, children, before I go into the answer, how do I know which one to use? Which is it, forces or energy? You need to look at the clues of the question. Yeah, my daughter, yeah, my youngest, she helps to give water to me, okay? Okay, you need to learn to read the question and use the information. Part B. Then it says that explain in terms of forces why the phone dropped. Can you see that? Okay, so you sometimes, right, when you're looking at your PSLE question if you realize that like part A, you use energy to answer, right? And you realize that it doesn't really make sense. And then when you go to part B, all right, and you saw the word in terms of forces, it must occur to you, this question is actually about forces, right? Because B and A, they are the same question. And that's the clue. And therefore, don't be afraid to go back to part A, children, and change your answer. Okay, so this is something that I noticed again and again and again. A lot of PSLE children, right? Once you finish your answer, right, even though you know that something is wrong, you won't go back and change it. I don't know why. Okay, so don't be afraid to go back to the question, right, and change the answer if you feel that something is wrong, or the part B has given you another clue, all right, to tell you that this is not something that you should write. Okay, so remember the question is your best friend, right? So sometimes the clue comes in part B. Okay, there's a question. What's the difference between EPE and ESF? Okay, elastic potential energy and elastic spring force. So first, one is energy and one is force, okay? So elastic potential energy, right, basically is the more you stretch the spring or an elastic object, okay, any elastic object, or the more compressed, all right, an elastic object is, if the more energy it will store, all right, store, the word store, all right, okay? So the energy is being stored. Can you understand that? Okay, but elastic spring force is different. First is only on springs, okay? Because that's why it's called elastic spring force. It's only on spring. And elastic spring force is only active when you release the spring, when it wants to go back to its original length or position. Okay? So a lot of children have a misconception. Elastic spring force is active when the spring is being stretched or compressed. That is elastic potential energy, all right? Elastic spring force is only active when you release it. Teacher Faith is here. Okay, yeah, all right, I go on. If you don't have enough space to cross out and then the answering space is all filled up, you can request for extra foolscap paper, all right? Okay, you can request for extra answering sheet, all right, from the examiners. Don't be afraid, okay? Children, Teacher Joe want to say this. Maybe because your school teachers have been scaring you with some, it's not that they want to scare you, maybe they want to remind you, all right? So maybe in those reminders, you get afraid, all right? Or you hear some people sharing about their PSLE stories. Okay, children, Teacher Joe want to assure you that during PSLE, right, you won't believe it, but it is really true. All the teachers and markers, right, are behind you. They really want you to score. No matter what, even the invigilators from other schools, they want the best for you. They want you to score. So if in the course of you doing your examination and you find that you need help, reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. They will help you, okay? As long as it doesn't break the examination rules, okay? They will help you, right? But calculator cannot, because calculator is a examination tool, okay? So that one you must remember to bring on your own, right? But if not, right, other things like you need extra tissue or something like that, I think the examiners will try their best, all right, to provide for you, okay? So during your examination, right, the only thing that you really need to take care, other than making sure that you have all your equipment, okay, mathematical tools and your stationery, all right, the only thing you really need to take care is your own mindset, your own awareness. If you go in with a positive awareness and positive mindset, right, I can assure you the chances of you doing well, right, it's over 90%. Okay, don't scare yourself with all the stories that you have heard. Okay, it will be all right. The examiners are actually very, very kind. Okay, ESP, again, the elastic spring force. Okay, so the elastic spring force, like I said again, is when you release the spring and the spring goes back to its original length. Okay, all right, I'll go on. Hey, you should attend our lesson. You must attend our BlueTree Math program, okay? Okay, here. Okay, let me go on here. Right. Wait, let me go on. Okay, so the last one is because the gravitational force is greater than the frictional force between the plug and the phone. All right, let me go on to some of the strategies. Okay, so I remind you again. Strategy 1, highlight the key information. Teacher Joe's favorite song. Analyze and annotate, analyze and annotate, analyze and annotate. You will score, okay? Sing along with me. Before you go to examination room, right, children, sing along, okay? Analyze and annotate, analyze and annotate, analyze and annotate. I will score, all right? Okay, so use this. It's very good. It will sure work, all right? So this is a prelim paper by Rosai, okay? One of the questions. So I want to show you right, why you must analyze and annotate. So you see, all right, before you go into the answer, the question, right, okay, remember to narrow down whether is it fruits or flowers. Because if it's flowers, right, that's pollination and fertilization. If it's fruits, right, then it will be seed dispersal. If it's seeds, right, then it will be germination. So actually each of the plum part represents a certain process. But most of the time, right, you all rush into it and then you all just put fruits, flowers, and seeds. You just label them all together. Yes, I know flowers will develop into fruits and then the fruits contain the seed. Yes, teacher Joe knows. But they are still three different things. And each of them actually represent a different process, okay? So BT MAP is our BlueTree Marks Accelerator program, which is our September holiday program, Madeline. Our September holiday program, okay? We also have the October holiday program for the P4 and 5, P3, 4, and 5, okay? So you're welcome to join us, right? Highlighters, yes, Lily, you can use it. You can highlight the question, but you cannot highlight the answer, right? Because the answer will be dark. Because since last year, all the scripts are actually scanned in and by the computer first. So the teachers actually use computers to mark your child's scripts. Okay, children, the teachers actually use computer to mark your scripts. So if you highlight the answer, right, they cannot see, become dark. Okay, so they will not be able to read it, right, with the computer. There is a student who shared with me, and I thought it's very cool. Instead of highlighter, all right, use colored pens. Use colored pens, all right? Okay, so again, I say one more time, all right? There are three things, right? Fruits is what? Pollination and, sorry, wrong with it. Flowers is pollination and fertilization. Fruits is seed dispersal. And then seeds is germination. So you have 4 processes, right, children? You have 4 processes. Okay, so each process, it actually is for one part of the plant. So this one, I can narrow down to seed dispersal because of the word fruits. And I can see that, okay, from the question, right? Okay, they say that how does the hair help the growth of the young plants? So key information, our strategy 1, analyze and annotate. So when you're analyzing and annotating, the key information, all right, is your content, your concept, children. So looking at the soft feathery hairs and the stiff hairs, one is by wind and one is dispersed by animals, right? So your strong content knowledge, children, is a must. Now, we are going through webinar now, and Teacher Joe is going through with you step by step, right? So it sounds like I'm saying this like, wow, like many minutes. But actually, during examination, these thoughts, right, this analyzing, this thought process, children, is in seconds. So actually, when you're looking at this question, in 3 seconds, you should be able to, seed dispersal, wind, animal. Okay, go on. So I am now telling you step by step is because you have to now learn to think in this way. All right, it will help you. Don't go straight to the question. Okay, so I'm reminding you, if you're P5, right, great. You got 1 year to learn this, okay, to make this into your habit of work. If you're P4, even better. Your runway is longer, all right? By the time you're P6, whoa, your answering skills will be like tops already. Okay, so remember, always use the key information. Like I say, within 3, 4, actually within 5 seconds, your analysis has to be like that. Okay, so the word help. Can you see again the word help? Right. Whenever you see the word help, you must know benefit, advantage. So how is this hair a benefit or advantage to the young plants, the growth of young plants? So this one, all right, you should be able to know that it's because it will disperse the fruit further away from their parent plant, which reduce overcrowding, competition for water, light, space, nutrients. We love Singapore McNuggets, okay? All right, I go on to the next one. Wow, time really flies. I already talked for 45 minutes, goodness. Next question, seed dispersal. So you see, even just now, right, part A, all right, you do not know that this is seed dispersal. Part B, the word seed dispersal is there. The question is your best friend. Right? So analyze and annotate, okay? Key information is so important, right? So after that, okay, I can see that they are actually scattered randomly, not in the wind direction. So if I refer to part A, all right, I remember that fruit B actually has stiff hairs, right, which is dispersed by animals. Before you go to the question, remember, key information is so important because it let you know, allows you to know the correct answer strategy to use. I can't stress this enough. Key information, children, don't rush. Okay, parents, children are not patient. All right. Unfortunately, our children now, patience is rare, right? This virtue, this value. Okay. Don't rush. Okay. Slow down. Slow down. All right. Take your time. Analyze and annotate. Analyze and annotate. Okay. and the key information will allow you to know the correct answer strategy to use, okay? This is also the same as math, right? Math also have a lot of information. How do you know which correct problem-solving strategy or heuristic to use? The one that reads the correct key information wins big time. Once you know the correct key information, it will definitely use this strategy. Okay, so children, often you're confused and you cannot answer the question correctly. It's really because you didn't read the key information. Slow down, annotate, okay? So this one here, all right, fruit B, because like the key information, the evidence, the plant is actually scattered in different direction, not in the direction of wind, right? So, and I know that fruit B has stiff hair, so it shows that it's dispersed by animal, just like the plant above. Okay, next one, right? Another PSLE question common, also plants, all right? So you can see same thing, all right? So what's the purpose of seed leaf, all right? Look at the key information. You can see that from the graph, the curve X is actually decreasing. So it shows that the mass is decreasing. So connect to the concept, all right? We all know that seed leaf provides food for the growing seedling, right? So therefore, the answer is very simple. It's curve X because the mass will decrease over time because it provides food for the seedling to grow, right? So again, once I know the key information, the answer is very straightforward. It doesn't take me a lot of effort, in fact, to think of the answer, right? How I do this? Strategy 1, use the key information, right? Okay, children, okay? Any questions here so far, okay? All right, the next one. So same thing, key information, right? There's no leaves. I can see from the diagram, no leaves, right? So how come it can get, what will happen? It will still continue to grow because light is not needed, right? At this stage, it doesn't have any true leaves yet. And after day 8, right, it will get its true leaf. How do I know about day 8? Refer to the part A, remember the graph? So I can see that at day 8, what happens, right? Already almost no more already, the seed leaf, right? So it shows that, right, the plant must have its true leaves. It must have grown its true leaves to actually make its own food, right? Okay, another next one, next strategy, strategy 2. Sorry. Yes, so our keyword booklet, right, will help you, all right, to form your science vocabulary. So like Teacher Joe says, it's so important. So you must use our keyword book if you have it. If you don't have it, you can go to our shop to buy it, right? Will help you to communicate your answer accurately and very quickly, right? Strategy 2, ABC technique, okay? So our ABC technique, which Teacher Joe just now told you, answer for choice, back with evidence, and confirm concept. So you know why I don't talk about the answer technique first? Because just now what did Teacher Joe says? Yeah, key information is very important because it will allow you to find the correct strategy. So children, when you're practicing your science, right, don't think about what is the strategy to use and what's the concept. You analyze your information correctly first. That is the first step. Then you can find the correct strategy, right? So again, I analyze and annotate. Okay, so I can see, okay, it says that X disperse its fruit further, right? And I can see that X has this feathery structure. So tells me it's wind dispersal. And why pod-like structure? So splitting. So concept check, they definitely can float further, right? We know on wind, that's why they can travel further. So which one will belong to X, right? So I know that it's set 2, right? So here, how do I know it's set 2? Because I can see that the seeds are further away from the parent plant. So compare, you must compare. A complete guide, I no longer print already. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's out of print. We didn't print it. Yeah, next year, I think. So sorry about it. Keyword book, okay? Yeah, okay, next one here. And so therefore, I know that it's dispersed by wind. Got it? All good? All right, I go on to the next one. Here, okay? Yes, after tonight, this session, you mean the recording, huh? Yeah, I'll probably put it on the YouTube because I think it's very important, right? So many information, and this is good way, right? So again, suggest another way that it will help in the reproduction. So again, when they talk about reproduction, children, narrow down to the process. So since the first part, they already talk about dispersal, right? Seed dispersal. So the second part definitely is not about dispersal already. So you think which other process requires animals to help? Pollination. So you see, I have shown you 3 different reproduction questions. Can you see that the concept tested are always the same? It's always the same. But how come you find it difficult? Because most of the time when you're right, you didn't link to the results. So you need to learn to link to the results, okay? All right, next one, another one that uses the ABC technique. So after we have analyzed and annotate, all right, concept check. So this is light and shadow actually, but it's also a little bit about man's impact. We can see things because the light is reflected into our eyes, right? So I tell the children, there's this common misconception. Children, remember, every object that you can see can reflect light. Every object that you can see can reflect light. It's not true that only mirrors reflect light or only shiny things reflect light. It's a common misconception because your parents, adults will say, oh, the mirror, you can see yourself because the mirror reflects light. Yes, it's true, but everything that you can see reflects light, children. Everything, okay? It's just that it's not shiny. That's why sometimes children go like, huh? How does the light bounce, right? Y'all cannot wrap this idea around, but everything reflects, remember, okay? So more water, so it shows that the water is more clear because actually you need more water to block the light from passing through, right? So it's P, right? And because more water has to be added until the coin no longer can be seen from the top, right? So it shows that more light was able to pass through. Now, this question is also commonly tested with photosynthesis. With photosynthesis, they can also ask you which part of the river is more suitable for plants to grow, right? So the answer is likely also to be container P, right? Because the water is obviously clearer. So that means if there were plants in P, right, they can actually trap more light to make more food, right? Okay, strategy 3. Yeah. Okay, strategy 3. Here, okay, so here you see water plus see? Like I said, a common question. Yeah, so this is actually like a combo question. All right, a combo question, okay? Now, I just want to point out, now whenever in PSLE, right, children, you will see a lot of comparison question, okay? So in BlueTree, right, I always tell the children this, compare or I cry. Yeah, because if you forget, right, you don't compare, you forget to compare, you will cry. You know why? No mark, 0. Okay, so how do you know that this is a compare question? How do you know? The question is your best friend. The word more, right? The word more already tell you that this is a compare or a cry. So analyze and annotate first, okay, before you go into answering the question. So remember, if you don't compare, you will get 0, even though your concept is correct, because they are looking for the right strategy that you should be using. All right, last one, experiment type question, okay? Experiment type question, okay, so I've highlighted, analyze and annotate the information, draw and label, right? So in a control setup, there is only one measured variable. Experimental setup, you will have one change and one measured. Teacher Joe repeat, in control setup, you will only have one measured variable, right? In experimental setup, you will have one change and one measured, okay? So now you need to draw and label a control setup. So I only should have one measured variable, right? So my measured variable should be what? The rate of photosynthesis, right? Can you see what I did? Can you all see that it's exactly the same setup? But because there should not be any change variable, right? You just remove this, and that is the answer. It's very simple, actually. So actually, a lot of PSLE, right, question, children, they are not so difficult as you think. If your concept is strong, right, you can do it. You definitely can. Okay, so I repeat, control setup, only measured variable. All right? Cool? All right, go on here. Here, next one. So the transparent glass tank with a black plastic bag. So I know that black bag means that no light can enter. So therefore, photosynthesis cannot happen. So if photosynthesis cannot happen, right? Okay, the plant will just respire. So if the plant just respire, the carbon dioxide will increase and the amount of oxygen will decrease. Now, this question is very common in PSLE. It's under energy in food, okay? So they often will trick you, all right, by giving you part A as photosynthesis, part B as respiration. And then after that, you all go like, is it photosynthesis or respiration? Don't panic, all right? Don't panic. Analyze and annotate. Okay, so do what Teacher Joe do, okay? Be very sure of your concept and the answer will come to you. Okay, all right. Okay, I finished all 3 strategies. Okay, I hope you learned something. Can you let me know if you learned something useful? Okay, so Teacher Faith's turn now for math. Are you okay? Okay, so the most important strategy that I really want to emphasize, right, is analyze and annotate. Yeah, it's very important. If you have a P4 or P5, right, student, right, all right, parents or students here, right, remember to use this early on. It is so useful, okay? This habit of work, right, once you can hone into your child, all right, or children, you can practice this and becomes your habit of work, right? You'll be surprised how easy open-ended questions are, right? Okay, yeah. Teacher Faye cannot. This is her 3rd lesson of the day.
I can't share. Like, oh, I found the button now. I'm using 2 different devices.
Yeah. Agree, right? Key information so important, right? Points to the right strategy, right?
Definitely a lot to learn. I'm still learning. Oh, my math brilliant had Helen and Ivan. They introduced a
What's the name? What's the name? I want to know what's the name of the 3rd person. So funny.
Heaven.
Heaven. Oh my God. That's true. Heaven.
Students who know me know that I love puns. Right.
Okay, I leave it to you.
Okay, thank you. Go have a break. Enjoy your dinner. Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me this evening. I guess you had a very good 1-hour science lesson. Yeah, so if you are catching some notes for your math revision tomorrow or anytime this week, you can take a photo as I go through the sums so that you know, you can take a look at the solution and the question for a quick review as you go through the work with your child. Okay, so the quick introduction about myself. An ex-GEP teacher, math specialist for 20 over years. I was a math setter and PSLE marker. I was in MOE schools for 15 years, met Teacher Joe, and then passion-driven, we left our career to set up BlueTree, and it has been a good 8-year journey together. I'm a mother of 3. My eldest is 16, sitting for O-levels this year, and then I have a 13-year-old girl, and the youngest is 11, so I'll sit for another PSLE next year before I call it quits, right? Okay, so yeah, so this is what the big topics, how they generalize all the topics that we have learned in school. So you don't see decimals and fractions written here because they fall under the topic on numbers. And you don't see area, perimeter, volume, nets, they fall under measurement. Geometry refers to angles and lines. Statistics is all graphs, pie charts, and the topic on average. Okay, so quite a couple of things that a lot of parents did not know and thought that, yeah, where do we find fractions? I'm bad at fractions. And you want to study fractions on its own. But actually, when you're tested on numbers, it's just a big general topic on it. This would be a good photo to take. Put out your phone and quickly take a picture of this. A 3-year analysis of how the percentage of marks allocated for the various components here, 7 components. And you can see that the ones that I've boxed up in red totaled up to about 60%. And that is consisting of whole numbers, all right, which is numbers itself, fractions, decimals. And then we have measurements, which includes area, perimeter, volume, and of course, ratio and percentage. So this whole section, if you do very well in it, you will secure your 50, 60%. And the next part that I would like to draw to your attention is not to forgo geometry because it is close to a 20%. And if your child is very good with the visuals, we are looking at attaining a full perfect score on this. Okay, so what happens if your child is not good on this? Yes, you have to practice. There's no shortcuts to that. Mathematics just works quite differently. You can't memorize math like how you memorize English spelling or science answers. Math is all about practice and to be able to recognize the shape and to be able to recognize that there's corresponding angle, interior angles. You have to agree with me that you just really need to train your eyes to be able to visualize and see these properties emerging when the shapes are placed before you, okay? You can also buy a PSLE booklet that are by the topics. So you can go to the page that's on geometry and practice that segment, or you can print practice papers, but only zone in to just do angles question for the day, all right? Okay, so this is a similar slide. Everything add up to 65%. As you can see, algebra and speed is a very small component of 4-5%. Then again, it doesn't mean that if it's too little, you want to totally ignore it. Yeah, it's not too difficult, right? You want to score full marks on them as well. Okay. At BlueTree, we use this teaching technique to help children gain confidence in solving questions. So most of the time, we tell the children to actually search for the clues, read and write, or read and draw the diagram, or draw the model. It could be drawing in any form of pictorial, because when it comes to speed questions, we don't draw model, but we draw distant timeline, which I'm going to demonstrate later. And once you can obtain some evidence, which is we connect the information, whether this distance belongs to this person or the speed belongs to that person, or in simple words, it's like some other questions like 4 units equals to 20. And then you will know 1 unit equals to 5. So it brings you through, and by the third stage, right, you're almost solving the question, because all you need to do is to read that last sentence again and to find out what are they looking for. Are they looking for shaded, unshaded boys or girls before or after? There's so much information to look for, and there are many times where pupils tend to look for the wrong thing. All right, I just finished a class earlier that they were almost there, but instead of looking for the ending, they look for the starting. And so the tic-tac-toe table enables the children to put the information in the correct positions inside the box, and that helps them to eliminate and cut down all the careless mistakes, okay, that could potentially happen. And the PSLE topics, I hope the teachers do give the students more practice time. At BlueTree, we started a little bit earlier for algebra because I think it's quite easy and we have constant practice over this 8 months. 9 months, because we started in December, right? And yeah, so if you have P5 kids and P4 kids, you know that if you start off the year early with us, you will have a good head start. And we bring forward our year preparation 1 month before January, you see. Yeah, so that helps them a lot. And so in P6, you can see that these topics all should have been covered by the school already. It's all about gaining mastery level to be able to solve the questions with more confidence. Show you a speed questions that I think most parents and students are very afraid of, right? So start off by reading just one sentence. Muthu cycled from point A to B at 375 meters per minute, okay? And then he used the same amount of time to cycle from point B to C. At this point, you already know that this entire journey, right, is in 3 parts. So we have the A, the B, and the C. So once you put down the information, this information was already provided in the question. So I'm just showing you how I converted the kilometers into meters, because in the question itself, the speed was given as meters per minute. So it will be helpful if we put them together. So with the triangle put in place, this DST speed triangle put in place, it will help the students to recall the formula and gel them together. So the distance is there, the speed is there, and then in order to find the time, you will take distance divided by speed as the formula depicts in the triangle itself. And then you'll be able to see that the distance taken, the time taken here is 12 minutes. All right. And then for the next part of the journey, it also takes the same amount of time, because it says that in the second sentence. So we'll put 12 minutes, all right, into the second triangle. for the second part of the journey. So this entire process is reading and writing, okay? As you're reading, you are writing, drawing, and it is a very busy process. If you start off just reading the question itself, it can be very overwhelming, okay? What's the average speed for the entire journey? It will be the total distance divided by the total time. So add up the total distance, divide by the total time of 24 minutes, and work it out, okay, with or without a calculator. And then you can reduce the lowest term, and there you go. The answer is 312.5 meters per minute, okay? Even writing in pen, pencil, the process should be in this order as well. So we have Amy, the second question. I want to show you something visual. Volume question is not as easy as it's length times breadth times height. That's what a lot of people think so, right? You want a previous slide? Yeah, take a picture, please. I didn't realize my slides were in some auto mode. Welcome. Yeah, so it was just like going in on and on. Okay, so we have volume questions that were no longer as easy as like length times breadth times height. You have to have some visual sense in this. How get your children to pack your cabinet for you. They cannot visualize the space, they cannot squeeze the place into that confined space, a drawer, or to put their clothes inside their drawer, right? Because you're always helping them do the stuff. So the length and height over here, as you can see, is you can see that's 3 cubes lined inside the box. So we know that 3 times 3 will be 9 cm on the length and on the height itself, okay? So if that is 9 cm, it's good that you annotate, indicate it on the diagram, all right? So that then I have pre-prepared the questions. I can't do selective questions by request, but gaps and differences will be covered in a holiday program as well. Okay, yeah. So to find out the other side of the other part of the box, right? So we're going to take 25 minus 9 and we get 16 centimeters. That's indicated on the diagram. So children tend to miss out this part. They keep working, but they forget to correlate it to whatever that's existing, okay? So since I'm going to put 2 cm cubes in the diagram, in the remaining part of the box, I'll take 16 divided by 2 to know that I can put 8 more cubes aligned on the remaining space over there. Okay, so I drew a picture, but the children could actually put out a pencil and just draw indicatively, just like small little cubes to help them visualize what's going on, okay? And for the height, you can see that it's 9, and to stack 2 cm, you're gonna get like 4 cubes remaining 1 cm space. So this is for illustration, for teaching purpose. So you can see that I stacked very nicely 4 layers up there, and then there will be 1 cm right at the top. Can I just check that everyone can't see the slides, or it's just Angie who can't see the slides? Maybe you might want to tap on the screen again, or you want to exit and re-enter. Okay, thank you, parents, for confirming. Yeah, you can. My slides are ongoing. Probably is your screen. Yeah. So, oops, I pressed the wrong button. All right. So for the height, right, I can stack 4, and then you can see that there's a little gap there, which is a 1 cm space. It's a wasted space. I can't stack any more things. Cubes will be like protruding out of the box, right? So that happens because we pack a lot of things. We know we need to get our children to pack more things, and then they can visualize this better. And for the breadth, if we're going to put 4 cubes, take a look at the diagram again. Visual illusion, all right? You might think that it's 3, but actually there are 4. So that's 12 cm. And when we take 12 cm divided by 2 cm cubes, there will be 6 cubes aligned along the breadth, okay? So I'm going to just show you, okay, the answer is, we'll take 8 times 6 times 4, but I'm just going to show you what it might look like when we align it 8 by 6, all right? And we stack up 4 layers this way. Children, can you see it? So this last stage, right, parents, children always add it up. They add 8 plus 6 plus 4. Yeah, do not do that, okay? We are multiplying the base area 8 times 6. Let me bring it down again. Can you see? When we find the base area, we take 8 times 6. So 8 times 6, right, is 48 items. And there are 4 layers of 48 items. So that is why 48 times 4, 8 by 6 by 4. And that explains why we multiply them instead of adding them. Okay, so the children already know the formula, length times breadth times height. But when it comes to application like this, they tend to make conceptual errors because they cannot visualize what is happening here. So at our lessons from the primary 5s, from primary 1, take a photo if you need to, okay? Yeah. No, it's not 8 by 4 by 4 because the breadth, right? The breadth, take a look at the breadth here. There are 4 cubes aligned. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 cubes here. So it's 4 times 3, there are 12 cm. So when it's 12 divided by 2, there are 6 aligned along the breadth. Yeah, so I did mention just now that, yeah, there was this visual illusion that you think that it's 3 on the breadth. Yeah, okay, but it's not. It is the height that's 3. And take a photo if you need to. You can also take note of the school. It's PRMGS school that you can just download the papers and give it a try. Sometimes the solution provided you may not understand. So I'm giving you a voice behind the solution to help you put them together. Okay. All right. I hope this has been helpful. So yeah, it has come to a stage whereby having formulas is not enough. There must be the visual skills, the analytical skills to help the children to apply what they have learned. Then it makes more sense. Okay. All right. So I'll just move off with this. So the P4s, P5s, the younger children will get the opportunity to build these things in their regular lessons. So when this happens over a period of time, it will reach a stage where before you even start building, they go like, oh, wait a minute, teacher, I can visualize it already. I can visualize how they are going to be stacked together. And so there's a lot of hard work put in the front part of the first part of the lesson. And then the subsequent lessons, they become easier. I even had a teacher who actually start cutting papers for 2 lessons. And by the 3rd lesson, the children were like, that cutting session, you remember? And then everyone knows how to solve the question. This is a Catholic high paper. All right. And I'm sure a lot of parents and students fumble over this because of the word 1/5 of the remainder. Okay, let's take a look at this question. So a fruit seller bought some plums and he threw away 152. Now, when there's a threw away part, right? Yeah, so it seems like there must be some manipulation with this number, right? And after selling 1/5 of the remaining, he was left with 4/7 of the item. I would just stop reading here and I get the children to draw a model to indicate what they have read for that first 2 parts where there's information, that 152, and show the remainder with 5 units. So if you show the remainder selling 1/5, you have a balance of 4 units. And this 4 units represent the 4/7 of the plums bought. This is a 4/7, which indicates that everything is 7 and the front part must be 3, like 3 units. Take away the fraction and which you can just focus on the 3 units. And therefore that 152 is that 2 units. Okay, so if we are looking for, sorry, the slide went too fast. And how many plums were placed into the boxes? We're talking about the boxes at the end, right, which is at 4 units. And that is why I was able to just take 152 times 2 cents. You can find 1 unit then times 4. If not, you can just times 2 for a shortcut. Okay, so the answer for part A is 304. Now, students may accidentally miss out the information about 1/5 of the remaining and converted 1/5 and 4/7 to the same denominator. So that will mean it's a wrong misconception. Okay. The next part will be a pretty shocking to many people that, oh, it's this assumption approach or things like that. There's a lot of missing info. It just says that there are large boxes have 12 plums and then small boxes has 8 plums. They did not tell us the number of plums. Okay, we only have like a total of 304 to work with. Okay, so guess and check is one of MOE's heuristics that is to be taught and to be tested as well. Okay, so we're talking about smart guess and check. So if I'm going to start with like 8, one box has 8 items, okay, and then 304 minus 8, that means 296 goes into the big boxes. Then I take 296 divided by 12, I realize that they're not divisible. So I'm going to start off with like, if there are 16 plums, all right, okay, so I'll take the total 304 minus 16. Then I'll take 288 divided by 12 and say, hey, yes, this is divisible. Yeah, all right. Yes, that's right. So then the next part is, what was the least number of boxes to be used, right? And then I will have to manipulate, because after I make the guess, I still need to find the number of boxes. 16 is not the box, 16 is the number of plums. So 16 divided by 8, I have 2 boxes. Then 28 divided by 288 divided by 12, I have 24 large boxes. And then we still have some steps to show that it's 26. So that is how the 2 marks are allocated, okay? 1 mark for the answer, and then 1 mark for finding that last step, the 2 plus 24, a couple of stages. All right, so don't be too shocked if there was a particular year, the PSLE booklet that you can find that the question is solved using guess and check, okay? So this is a percentage question I wanted to show you so that you can learn. Do you need to take a photo of the previous page? Yeah, this is a cat high paper. Okay, I chose like, you know, the questions at the back. That's not so typical. All right, and common mistake at the same time. The children tend to overlook that word remaining. Okay, so take a look at this one. It's question 40 from a cat high paper. Fun fair was decorated with red and white balloons. So at first there were 19 more white than red. 25% of the white balloons burst. As you can see, you go on reading, that's right, overwhelming on info. So we can start drawing some items, okay? As you can see, the first part, right, a lot of missing info. Then the second part, it says more red balloons were added and there were 26 more red than white and a total of 170. This is where I gather that information. 26, 170, they fall into the same group, which is the ending group. The beginning part had drips and drabs of information that I can't draw or write anything at all. Okay. So in order to find the red at the end, I will do my typical step. That's why only 1 mark is allocated, because it's like a primary 1, primary 2 comparison model. Total minus 26, or you add 26 and then divide by 2. Okay, I make it a longer bar so that shortens the step. And that's 98 for the red. Now, B, parents, please take note. Percentage increase is highly tested for both school and PSLE. They will always have this question, percentage increase, found in graph question and a typical question like this. Somewhere in the paper, it will always test this concept. And we must remember it is always the difference over the original times 100. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to look for the white balloons in the end. So we got the 98 red. So I'm going to find the, I'm going to remove the 26 and there goes 72 whites. Okay, that's at the end. And then it did say in the previous statement that 25% of the white balloons burst, right? So this balance 72 must be that 75% of the white. Not of the total, it's of the white. So therefore, we look for 100%. Okay, and then I know that there are 96 white at first. And then I move off to the front part, it says there were 19 more white than red. So therefore, 96 minus 19, I get 77. To find the percentage increase, I will have to find the difference. There you see, I wrote out the steps for you. Okay, the difference of the red, 98 minus 77. over the original 77 times 100%. Now, at this point in time, right, what the children's mistakes would be, they don't write the keywords red and white. They don't write beginning or the end. And then they're going to put out the wrong numbers to subtract. Agree with me, parents? Yeah, can you imagine right at the back, the denominator, 77, they might just pluck out the wrong numbers. Or they could probably put the ending number like 98 for the base. Always remember difference over original times 100%. Okay, please take a photo of this. It's a very common concept that they always test, percentage increase. Flip through the PSLE booklet that your children have bought, the 3-year one. You can easily find them. Okay, I'm just going to fast forward this one. And the last question on patterns. You're very afraid of patterns, right? There's some shortcuts to doing patterns, some methods. So over here, you can look at how the tables, the numbers are in the table. Okay, you can analyze the picture and how it grows and you add on. So if you're not sure how figure 5 looks like, before you even fill up the table, take a look at how figure 4, you can see that at the ends here, let me look for it over here, you can see they were add-ons. All right, the corners, the edges were the add-ons. And then let me just bring out what picture 5 will look like. Okay, the ones at the side here is meant to be white, but I just add a touch of light gray to show you these are the add-ons. The add-ons at the side, the steps. Okay. All right, so this is figure 5. So how many whites are there? It is actually 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6 on one side and 6 on the other side. So that makes 12. And then how many grays are there? It will be 10. And then because of the top, right? 2 on the sides and 1 at the top. So it's at 3. And so that makes 13. The children can add on in the original diagram. Okay, this is one of the strategy. Part B, what is the total number of squares in figure 40? In this table, there's no information about the total. Back in 2019 PSLE paper, it was a similar situation. The children were required to fill in the total on their own. Yes, thank you very much. It brings out the square numbers, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. What are square numbers? 5 times 5, 4 times 4, 3 times 3, 2 times 2, 1 times 1. And at BlueTree, the students have been trained to recognize these numbers so often that I think they're getting a bit bored with me already. Since P4, P5, they've been exposed to it. They'll hear it very, very often across their regular lessons. So it becomes a norm. So the total squares in figure 40 will be 40 times 40 itself, figure number times figure number. Okay. Next question is a little similar to the 2019 patterns question, where they compare the whites and gray. Okay. In this question, like not much of a formula is required. There are some people who learn linear equations. Quadratic equations is not in the primary syllabus, okay, in the GEP syllabus only and secondary school. So what we're going to do is we're going to make use of the information from the previous question in order to find the difference, right? I think it'll be easier if we were to find the total, then we minus the gray in order to find the white before we do a comparison, okay? So let me teach you how to find the gray formula, okay? You can see that the difference is 3, 3, 3. So therefore, we'll use a formula 3 times the figure number. So like you see, 3 times 5 is 15. But I need to minus 2 to get 13. You can also check out like 3 times 2 is 6. Then I minus 2 to get 4 gray. So that's how the formula is derived. This is what we call linear equations, okay? Children are being taught since a little bit of exposure in primary 3, easy questions. Then at primary 4, 5, 6, they get all of this. So in figure 40, to find the number of grays will be 3 times 40, and then minus 2. I have 118 gray. And then for the whites, okay, I will take my total, which is 1,600, minus the gray, and I get the answer for the white. the question asks for the difference, right? So I'll just have to subtract gray and white to get the answer. Okay, so at this point, I think what you are worried about is, what if my children cannot even spot this? So not to worry, in a 5-mark question, there will be the first 1-2 marks that is like free, easy for the children to be able to fill in some answers, to be able to gain some marks out of it. But for part 3, for part C, there could be like a 2 or 3 mark question that if a child really could not do, yes, might lose part of the mark. But it's quite impossible, like out of 5, you lose all 5. Okay? Okay, a parent wants a solution from part B. Let me just bring it back to you for you to take a quick picture of that, okay? Yeah, so this is the point to take note over here, right? It's not the 40 times 40. The point to take note here is your child needs to draw an extra row or column on their own. And you have to encourage them to pick up the pen to do something about it. They can't just fold their arms and just keep staring at it. Yeah, this is the additional effort, and then that 1 mark will just come so easily. Okay, yeah. All right, so yeah, we'll be covering more patterns question in our holiday program. So it gives them a lot more exposure on what are the things you need to do to spot, draw an extra column, extra row to find the linear equations, and what to do when they're asking you to compare. This is only one type of comparing questions. There's another type of comparing questions that do not look like this. Okay. Yeah, so there are some happy testimonials of how children benefited from our program. And thank you, parents, for supporting us all this while. You definitely have been through our March holiday program, our June holiday program. Don't worry, we are here to support you with the September map. Okay, that's like almost our last lap. Look out for our masterclass program that will be upcoming as well. Don't forget, we never forget our B5s and B4s. We'll have more crash course for them as we prepare them for the end of the year. Okay. Teacher Faith and Teacher Joe, yes, we are at a center teaching, but all our classes are closed. Registration always starts 1 year ago. I'm so sorry. Yeah, or you can
wait, but yeah, I can join our teachers. Our teachers are all personally trained by us.
Yes.
Yeah, our teachers are all personally trained. So join us, this MAP program. You can try out some of our fantastic lesson on BlueTree.
Thanks, Shirley. Thank you. Yeah, so we have lots and lots of programs for P6s and all our different levels. All right, P3, P1 to P6, secondary school as well. So we'll continue to support you. Okay. So yeah, all the way. Yeah, this is a little girl who wants to go to BlueTree. I love this picture a lot. Yeah, together we can do this, mummies and daddies. We are here to support you, children. Just do your best. You have done a lot this 8 months, okay? You should just consolidate your information, your things that you have learned, all right? Stay calm and then revise them. Sometimes you don't need to do more and more and more. You just need to only review, and redo. That could be good enough. You can join our Facebook discussion group. Follow us on BlueTree telegrams. You can catch some of Teacher Joe's telegrams sharing on science notes. Our YouTube channels, a lot of teaching videos. All right, learn science together with us and learn math together with us.
TikTok as well. Yeah, parents can find us on TikTok. Yeah, we also have the Learn Math, Learn Science, BlueTree Education. Yeah, yeah, if you like our sharing today, please kindly go to the Google and help us for a review. Okay, I know, like, yeah, if you really like what we do, all right, it will really, really help to encourage us. All right.
That's right.
Okay, we want to do more. Yeah, we want to do more, right? But sometimes we do not know whether you like this kind of things. So if you leave us a Google review, right, it will really, really help to tell us, right? So please do go to Google, all right? You can leave us a review anytime. Thank you very much for joining us today. Do join us in the September holiday program. Yeah, we'll be writing the curriculum, so you can be sure that it is solid, good stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to our website and you do not know where to find you know, the button to click. You can just scan this QR code or just take a picture of this QR code first. All right, and then it will lead you to our website to book the Marks Accelerator program, the MAP, this coming September. Yes, I'm teaching some of the classes. You can go in to look at the schedule and find the one that fits your child best. Go for physical if your child needs a physical interaction with the teacher. Yeah, if your child don't suit online, please do not choose online. It's already the last lap.
Yeah.
Choose what's suitable for your child. We have very good teachers put in place. We have teachers that we have already trained them to teach the BlueTree way. All right. Yeah. So they will use common lingo like the ABC technique, the soft technique. Yeah. What's the other one? Analyze and annotate. Analyze and
yeah, we will teach them how to do the key information.
Yeah.
How to what's the best way to tackle a question. We'll remind them. We'll also teach them the content, right? We understand that the math content must come in also and the science content. So the teachers will do all this.
Hey, don't worry, parents, about physical or online. You want the recording and all.
Yeah.
We are here to support you. So even if you choose a physical setting, you will still get to watch our online videos. Okay, you get both. You get the best of both worlds. You get a physical lesson, all right, the interaction with the teacher, and you still get the online videos version. It's just that probably your physical lesson could be Teacher Fabian, but the online version could be Teacher Faith. You know, it's like just a different teacher because I do the online classes. So don't worry about that, okay? Just write in and request, can I have a video recording? We will give it to you by the end of the week when the lessons are all done. Okay? We are committed to help you and your child to tide through this PSLE period. We know how tough it is. We've been through it many over years. Trust us.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we've been through it 20 over years. Yeah, so we truly are with you. We understand how it is. But please, parents, don't think that it's easy, all right? Okay, and don't think that like attending like webinars like that. Yes, it will help your child, but it may not create the kind of results that you want. You still need consistent practice, all right? Consistent practice is key. So all this holiday program classes, right, is really to help your child. Yes, must play, but cannot play all day and not study as well. Okay, so it's all in the balance. Okay, so we're trying to tell you balance. We're going to do a balance. Fiona, the recording of this webinar, all right, okay, we will put it on our YouTube. Okay, in 2 days. Give us 2 days to curate this and then process it. Yeah, correct. That's not everything we can put on it. Okay, welcome. All right, okay. So all in the balance. All right, good night, everybody. Okay, all the best for your exams. If you're having exams tomorrow, all right, sleep early, children.